Here we go.
Awesome.
There, we're live.
Anyway, it's mine, isn't it, this evening? I should figure out what the hell we're talking about.
Stuff.
I apologize. Actually, I should apologize in advance.
Why?
Because I sent that post. I was kind of giddy and kind of fun with the bloody oh, there we are. Let me turn the mute off. There we go. I came up with that graphic. I did the graphic and I was just giggling. It was just a fun one to come up with, and I'm like, I gotta post it. And I sent it to you guys. And for once, for like the one bloody time that you're not online at, I don't know, midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I want to.
Yeah, I actually went to bed. Yeah, I was sleeping.
I don't blame you. I need to do that at some point.
Ryan looks all rested.
Yeah, I can't get over it. He's looking civilized, shaven, nice. Like, I'm not entirely certain by this whole thing. I'm a little scared. I got to be honest.
Well, like I said, you got to clean it up once in a while.
I want to share. I want to share something. I saw this evening, and I thought of you guys. Nope, that's not it.
Yeah, I saw that one. Somebody sent it to me. Oh God, who was it that sent it to me? I've lost it. Oh man, it was, who the hell was it that sent it to me? There it was. Andy Clay. Oh yeah. God, we're all on this one. 8 people on the freaking chat, for crying out loud. There's a bunch of us. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought of you guys.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that. I'm like, that's just awesome.
Initially, I thought it was my partner doing that.
When ransomware hits home.
No shit. I mean, seriously.
And then he goes on to say, it sounds silly, but I got a bit excited by it. and then, oh shit, it's real.
Yeah. No.
I started looking at the thing. There's no manual override at all.
No, they're yeah, you're in on one of those things.
I don't have a scar or anything, but I was bleeding and it fucking hurt.
You know, it's kind of to do with what we're going to be talking to about this evening. Let's face it. This is some of this evening's conversation. I'm actually looking forward to it. I got to be honest. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this one or I would like to have a little bit of fun with this one this evening. Let's put it that way.
Let's do it.
All right. So, for those of you, let's see. I'm actually going to assume that everybody's either seen the post, read the thing, or whatever. And if you haven't, well, tough noogie balls at this point in time. We had a bit of a rant last week about 100% secure and guarantees and all those other good things that we apparently purport to be able to do in this industry. And obviously we took it out.
Hey. You know, what? I got a warning for that from our chief legal officer.
Oh, you did? Because you weren't allowed to say that we can't do this, or?
No. I don't give a fuck anyway. But what did he say? Hold on. Sorry.
No, you're good.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Ryan? Did I share it with you?
No, I don't.
What the hell was it? The message is, hi, I'd like to politely encourage you to not drop too many or any names on the shit show. It's going to suck when we get sued. It's not the first time I've been sued. Whatever.
I've had those warnings before as well. It's always an interesting time. I mean, I'll actually give Tony credit. Tony and a few of the others. I've had a couple of conversations, shall we say, with people like, would you mind taking that post down, or would you mind this, or would you do this? Or there have actually been a couple of times when I've worked with companies that are like, well, we just lost this or we didn't get this business because your hairy ass is here. I'm like, oh, sorry. If people can't stand the truth, then yeah, it's tough shit at that point. So,
I would think it'd be a PR disaster if you play that game.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're gonna get sued because you are 100%. talk about putting a red rag to it. Well, that's just a quick phone call to me, and then we'll just basically drop their entire database online. It's as simple as that. So to that point, we had the conversation last week about the wonderful way that occasionally we tell the entire universe that we can keep everything secure and good and comfortable, and how there are some challenges with that, should we say. So then we go the other direction, which is where I started off the post, which is we've seen a lot of people these last few weeks, probably in the last month or so now, give or take a little bit, kind of wake up to some degree and go, oh my goodness, my digital life is not my own. Be they got cut off, be somebody they know got cut off, be they see other people got cut off, be they actually watch and witness what's happening. And I think some people have woken up and gone, well, maybe this digital life isn't all it's cracked up to be. Well, some bad news, tough shit, because you're already part of it, and the chance of getting out of it are nigh on impossible. It's almost 100% the other direction at that point in time. So then I'm like, okay, well, what if? And the what if is, could we play a game? Could we sit here and go, I've got data, here's my telephone. I've got data on this phone, and what could I do? How could I effectively protect it so that it could be secure? Is there actually a way of doing this? And I've played this before many, many years ago, and we ended up basically with an amazing scenario that was crazy beyond a reasonable wildest doubt. And I kind of want to walk us there again, but I want to see, despite the fact that we've ridiculed the hell out of our industry because of this whole 100%, I want to see if there is a way of actually doing it, of taking data and making it so that only can those that should see it ever be able to see it, should ever be able to use it. Or if I have stagnant data, the right to be forgotten, could I take it and manage to actually destroy it effectively enough across all platforms? So hence the reason at the bottom of it is like, does it mandate lead-lined boxes? Do we have to worry about Faraday cages? Do we have to bury it under a volcano? Do we have Cerberus checking on it? Now, I put Cerberus tongue-in-cheek because for those of you who know your Intel lore, Cerberus was a project that I'm intimately familiar with that we ran to actually collect data on people, among other things. Or, can you go back to the old, sock in the drawer or hiding it under the closet kind of thing? So I kind of want to run around this one, put a slightly positive spin on things and go, look, is there a way of taking something and effectively securing it? And then I want to shoot holes in it. I want somebody to come up with something. And we basically play Dungeons and Dragons with data. That's kind of what I want to do.
I'm game. Huh.
I'll start it off. I'll start the conversation off because I'm looking at the comments. So somebody had a really, really cool comment on here. Where is it? There's somebody that's saying they've been working on the idea, but I don't want to assassinate that one just yet. I will in a minute. Where is it? Good points. The alibi to build your own. Chris. The hell is it? Oh, there we go. I'll be all dressed up from Joe. It was actually totally cool. I'll be dressed up in my tinfoil hazmat suit inside of the Faraday cage bunker with my phone encased in the lead-lined Faraday bag. However, still working enough to pump out more than 2 megabits a second sustained bandwidth to YouTube through a sandbox, Tor, IP tables, eBPF, pfSense over Open VAS. And I laughed about it. And I'm like, I love that. I love the fact that we already started off there. We didn't just say, I'm going to be in a Faraday cage. Somebody went to that exact length and said, look, this is what I will do to protect myself. And I love it. But then it's one of those where it's like, well, okay, I know between two of us, we own about 300 or 400 of the Tor nodes these days still. And I know the agency owns another 400 or 500. And so it was one of those, it was like, okay, even the Tor nodes themselves aren't safe these days, let alone the network they're being carried over. And I just wanted to dig into this. Is there anywhere on the internet where we are safe, our data is safe, and it's under any kind of our control? Do we have that ability to walk down the street and call the air we breathe ourselves ours in the digital world?
Well, the short answer to that is no.
Well, that's it. That's the problem. So you're right. The short answer is no. I want to know if there is. I want to challenge this. I want to kind of go, well, I'm Rupert Murdoch. I own the company. Well, Who owns that last mile that comes into your building? Who has that? At what point is there anything that we could call our own, and could we then protect it effectively?
Well, I like to equate this like, you have a secret, right? And it's in my head. I haven't shared it with anybody. As soon as I share it with somebody, it's already become less secure, right? Because now I have to trust the person that I just shared it with, that they won't share it.
Yeah.
That as soon as it gets out of my little bit of control, it's out of my control. So even if I did end-to-end encryption or some, weird shit to who I'm communicating with, I still have to trust them with that data. Now, the only way you can potentially handle that is if you somehow encapsulated the data, so only they could unlock it, and then it expired. And then, because once data is out, once it's been shared, the only way to get it back is to make it no longer usable. You actually can't get it back. It's whatever data you had. So, for instance, you had my social security number.
Yeah.
Great. You can go do something with that. Now, the only way I can fix that is to get a new social security number. Make the data that you just stole from me no longer useful. But beyond that, shit. Because even when the Faraday cage and everything else, whoever you're communicating with, you have to trust them.
Well, even on the cable you're communicating over. And this is where it's like, I want to know, is there, and I mean, Loki and everybody's like, oh no, I've been saying this for years, you can't. I'm like, shut up for a second, go look in the mirror and play devil's advocate with yourself. Challenge that thinking, challenge those ways. Could I replace the cable with something? Could I, to your point, could I encrypt the data going over the cable? So I don't care if you have the cable, can I encrypt that data over the cable? And if I can it be my encryption, or how secure is my encryption? And a publicly known encryption? Can I do a 512, 1024, 2048, 4096 encryption? And if so, can I have my own quantum architecture? So to me, what I want to know is there a way? And then we can get into the reasonable use. Can I put a quantum architecture in the basement? Probably. I got enough space. Is it feasible? Only if I got a couple of million spare. And will somebody at the other end have the same ability to do something with it? Probably not.
You'd have to have some kind of wrapper, some
Right.
kind of wrapper on your data. And you'd have to be able to destroy the data, like the old
and so
the old James Bond things. Like, this is about, in 5 seconds, this is going to
Now
explode.
I have an answer. I actually have a potential answer, and it's something I've been, not to give too much of it away, but it's something I have been kicking around with for the last couple of years. But we'll talk about it. It's stuff I've talked about publicly, which is the brain system stuff. So it's literally a biorhythmed one-time use architecture. But we're still a long way off of that, buddy. We got a long way to go before we hit that properly.
Well, the only encryption that's been proven, I think, to not be hackable is one-time pads.
Right.
Right. That same sort of method, as long as you never reuse the pad.
And you also make sure that the algorithm that the pad is generated by, and that the system that generated the pad, and how that pad was put together, is all, is actually all effective.
Yeah. Otherwise, that's proven to be unbreakable.
Yeah.
As long as those three rules hold true.
Yeah. Ryan, you were going to say something. Sorry, I kind of dragged you into there for a second.
Well, just going outside of kind of the existing available options, right? So you bring up quantum computing and its practicality. I ponder if we couldn't make a substance that we could shape that would degrade at a specific and predictable rate and frequency that you could use as kind of like hardware tokens, right? And then have the ability to send a beacon to that token to accelerate its decay rate in the event that the trust bond between those tokens would be broken. I think you're going to see hardware, biologic, like you're talking biorhythm. I think, there could be a reality for us in the not too crazy distant future where there's biologic components as well. And you have, you know, obviously synthetic biologics, but I think when we get to that degree, we could achieve some type of security through absolute uniqueness and encapsulation, to Evan's point, the ability to completely encapsulate it and do those one-time use codes in a way that's truly one-time use and not based on our current random number generators.
Yeah.
Well, we're only talking electronic data too, right? Data exists in
DNA is a heck of a transport mechanism if you wanted to move some information around.
Oh, and the amount of data you can stick it. I mean, the capacity for DNA data transfer is do you know what the stats are on that one? How much you can freaking fit? And literally,
I know they've at least put on and retrieved a 4K full length feature film.
Yeah.
So that's
So this isn't anything that's completely on the other side of the world. But when you look at in theater SF teams, the ability for them to take and retrieve data effectively without carrying hard drives and everything else, huge amount of stuff we're working on that one with DARPA and actually with some of the teams as well, is the ability to basically encode inside the body area network architectures. So a ton of research being done on that stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When you can put TTLs on data, so you could make it expire, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can build that in.
Then you got to build in your data rights and copy protection management as well, because you got to prevent the scrape.
Right, or duplication.
Then as well. So okay, so you've encoded it and dropped it into your DNA. I hate to say this, what stopped me from whacking you over the head temporarily and taking anything out? What is my potential for being able to do that? So now I'm back to
you would never want it to you would never want to tie it to your DNA, because that's something you can't change. Once that's compromised, you're fucked.
Oh, that's a good point. So your DNA is simply the transport mechanism. Your encryption algorithm is something different.
Yeah.
It'd have to be. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why, I'm leery about some people's implementations of biometrics. If they're not storing minutia, if they're storing the actual image, well, that's shitty, because I can't change my fingerprints or my retina or shit like that,
Yeah, I've seen that. There have been a couple of breaches. There was a restaurant, like an enterprise, like place that one of these restaurant companies that looks after like a lot of different enterprises and organizations, that they were using fingerprint readers, and that all got stolen. So I mean, a bunch of people out there. Well, we already had it with freaking OPM, for crying out loud. So we're all screwed apart that part.
Right. So I think the way you'd have to work this through is just logically from creation all the way through to expiration, right? So
yeah,
in store, and really it two forms. I mean, if you're talking electronic, it's either stored, right, stagnant, or it's in transit. So from the very beginning, right, as soon as you create the information, there's at least a moment in time when it's in storage with you, right? So I mean, you'd have to interface like right at the very beginning.
Right.
I mean, if you encapsulate it, bundle it, secure it.
And then you got to do key exchange.
Then exactly. So you got to figure that one out effectively enough, and not only have you got to
dead drops. I recommend going back to dead drops.
Oh my god! There's still a couple of active ones in this neck of the woods.
Dude, there's a great Netflix if you haven't seen it yet, where they go through the tech of this. They do spycraft tech.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff.
There's a few. Do you remember the dead drops with USBs? Do you remember the USB dead drops that people built them into? They put them on the sides of walls. They put them outside of buildings. They put them in all these weird places. there's still a bunch of those that are still active. It's freaking awesome. Every now and again, I'll just wander around and just go find the odd one or two and plug something in that I don't care if it gets pwned. You know, it's one of just to see what's on it or what you can leave on it that's friendly-ish. Yeah, it is interesting. And then, okay, so this is just like us to us. This would be the three of us communicating. But then how the hell do you do that with the likes of LinkedIn and Facebook and Signal and Snapchat and all these other places? How the hell would we still be able to actually, communicate effectively, look after, or do we at that point in time say, look, anything that is one to many, we just have to accept that there's no chance in hell of being able to do anything with it?
Well, think of it this way. When the telephone was first adopted, the party line was very common. And so it was socially acceptable. And you knew when communicating on said party line, not to have or hold certain conversations, not to share certain information. Then we went to the private line and we got comfortable sharing that sensitive information. Then along comes the internet and it's the party line and we're behaving like it's the private line. So I think there's that component where should we be going to the doctor over an iPad? Right, we're doing it, it works, it's great. So how do can you secure that? But then, some of the stuff we're doing with data, I wonder if we should even be doing with it in the first place.
I think experience to this point has taught us no. And actually, I mean, we said this one here. Rachel said it, never put anything you want private and digital anything. And I mean, the problem is that's true. But the problem is we don't have a choice. I'd argue we don't have a choice. You go to the doctor's office, you stand in front of a computer and they're like, hey, we need your social, we need this because we need to validate your insurance. You just handed your digital identity over to somebody else and you are trusting wisely or otherwise that they're looking after it. You go to, you go to, I mean, shit, I go to Whole Foods or I go down somewhere and I pay cash and they're looking at me like, I did it the other day. I went through Starbucks. And I mean, automatically they just hand you, yes, I go to Starbucks, I'm sorry. Yes, they hand you the machine and I'm handing them money and half the time they're like, what the hell is this? I'm like, well, welcome to cash. It's a good thing. But to get cash, I got to go to the ATM, which means I'm on camera, I'm on this, I'm on the other. And if I don't go to the ATM, if I walk into the bank and even take out a larger chunk of cash and use that over the month, which I do sometimes if I'm measuring effectively, I'm on camera, I'm on this, and by the way, I've got to use a bank. And if I don't use a bank, how the hell am I getting paid? How's anybody giving me money? And so you end up with this whole, even if you can manage yourself effectively in your Faraday cage, in your bag, in your everything else, your ability to interact with the world is reliant on this. And it's reliant on you handing your identity over multiple times a day.
Well, and even when you went to Starbucks and paid cash, you were on camera.
Oh, yeah, quite probably. Exactly. And even if I wasn't, to your point, even if I'm not on their camera, I'm on the traffic camera or I'm on the red light camera or I'm on the security camera, or because my car's got freaking wireless in it, that's obviously bouncing around all over the place. And by the way, it's being tracked because, Mercedes is nice and looks after it. So even if that part's not, I mean, this all plays into, the storming of the Bastille the other week. It's as everybody's like, well, I'm going to go charging in there with my surveillance device attached to me. Well, congratulations, your numpties. But we see this in everyday life, and it's like, how do you avoid this? This actually leads into another conversation, and I'm going to assume you guys have probably thought the same thing that I have, which is how do you pull off the perfect crime? And this day and age, it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder to do that. It's getting tough. I mean, killing somebody and getting away with it effectively is getting hard work these days. Just because of all the surveillance, the cameras, the network, the systems, the architecture, the backups, the collaboration, the communication. I mean, there's still a lot of gaps, no two ways about it. But it gets really interesting because that net is obviously closing in, which then goes back to the conversations we're having, which is, how much of ourselves do we still own and do we still have control over? Can we still make our own decisions on? And how much can we protect that? And can we? Or do we just, as I said, the closing sentence was literally, do we just get to a point where you say, it's screwed and just give it all up as a bad job?
Yeah. So you can still get away with the perfect crime because I still haven't been caught. So we're good on that.
But if you committed it a long time ago, then that's fine. I mean, that's, because you didn't have, the UK's both good and bad. I mean, it is surveillance nation. This country complains about it, but I'm like, you go to the frickin' England.
Or go to China.
You go, well, there we go. Okay, that's an entirely, that's not just a step up. That's an entire different generation of stuff up from where the UK's been, definitely.
I think it comes down to, the who's and hows. So we clearly as a people have agreed that we're comfortable with this, right? We invite these devices into our lives. They put up the traffic cameras in our cities, and we don't go down to the meetings to ask what's going on or be involved. Do we just let the stuff happen, and it keeps happening and happening and happening?
Yeah.
And so, what it comes down to though is who's in charge of what. So if Amazon can strike deals, if large corporations who run in the cloud, Kevin, who also manufacture doorbells and give that footage to law enforcement, and then law enforcement keeps that in perpetuity for whatever crime, that may or may not have happened or for whatever purpose, right? And then what happens when that gets leaked? It's not like law enforcement is impervious to being breached. And so you have all that stuff. I don't know, man. This is a tough one.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Well, I think you have to, I'm gonna break it down into fundamentals kind of guy.
Go for it.
So what are all the different versions of my identity, right? We talked about we talked about things I share on Facebook or social media. We talked about my digital images that may be taken, while I'm on the street. Talked about tracking data in car. I mean, I think you really have to take an inventory of all the places where my identity might be.
Yeah.
And you won't get it perfect, but start there and then start figuring out ways that you can secure each one of those, and then combine, find the like in the different ways and combine them into certain roles. Like, that's where I would start. Let's take sit down with you guys or sit down with a bunch of people and just inventory of all the places that my identity is used from birth, right? My identity said birth. I never chose my social security number. That shit was given to me. I didn't have a choice, right? And so my identity was created sort of for me from the very beginning. But I think you'd have to take inventory of all that and then, look for ways to secure it. Because I was taking notes as we were talking about, like data I share on, Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. So, I think two things you'd have to build into the data stream. One is prevent duplication and then enforce some sort of expiration, either time-based or event-based. That one data type. But shit, there's, like you said, there's thousands of others. You'd have to take inventory of it all.
Well, here's where it gets interesting, and this is, so I'm going to answer that one. And I just put it up on, I can put it in our chat. I just put it up on the other chat. I'm going to drop it in ours as well. So there was an experiment, and this is kind of what got me really, really thinking about it even more. There's an experiment done in China, down in downtown Beijing. There's a place called Happiness Avenue in downtown Beijing. And an artist did an experiment, and because of the surveillance cameras in China, and they were saying by 2018 there are about 200 million. By 2021, as in this year, it's expected to be 560 million cameras in China alone. So one camera for every 2.4 citizens, give or take a bit. And that's just the official cameras. And so this artist was saying basically what he wanted to do, he recruited a whole bunch of volunteers and they walked less than a mile. So 0.7 of a mile. It took them over 2 hours to walk that mile. And what he thought of was to be avoiding any of the official cameras. So the whole idea was he mapped out where every single official camera was as best as he could know, where every single official camera was on this less than 1 mile, 3/4 of a mile patch of road. And then he took a whole bunch of volunteers and they tried to walk from one end to the other end. So less than a mile, over 2 hours to do it. And as he said, he's like, look, we probably avoided all the official ones, but he's like, we have people taking pictures of us all the time, posting them all on social media. And that to me, that's where it's just like, it's, and yes, I know that's China, but let's face it, we're kind of all heading in that general direction at some point in time. I know the UK is getting there, and the US in certain areas is getting there for good or for bad, depends entirely upon what you want to think of on that one. And so it's really, really, you look at that and you're like, my identity in 1 mile is on, I can't remember how many cameras he said it was. It was some ridiculous number of cameras. And, he was saying there's facial recognition cameras, there's phone cameras, there's plate cameras, there's all the social medium stuff. And it was just amazing to see just that one example as to how many and how much that there was going on with that, just that one mile, that one area. So,
but if I understand right, those are state-based cameras, right? That's part of the state surveillance system. Yeah. So, I think one of the things that's important to talk about when we talk about securing data is intent. Because when we trade that data to the entities that we trade it to, be it the doctor, be it the government to keep us safe, whatever that is, we do that because of how they're going to use it. I think where it gets really interesting and slippery is when we have private entities who are then having N number of other parties using those data sets for N number of other purposes. It goes back to something we've talked about on the show before, the consent part of sharing of your identity. So if you're going to live in China, you consent to be on camera.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Well, especially with that. But it's getting, you go, if you go shopping into some of the mainstream shops now, they're getting, you walk down some of the aisles and they got the surveillance stuff there that as you get closer, it starts singing to you and talking to you and sending freaking things to you. I was at a conference year and change ago where they were talking about, there was an entire hall that was simply there to get you to click more. And they were talking about the proximity systems that are built into more of the smartphones and how they're going to build more in. So as you walk, you're in a shopping mall and you walk past Abercrombie and whatever the hell the smelly place is, you walk past there and it'll start, you'll get ads and you'll get targeted and you'll get this, and you walk past this and you get to all of this stuff. It's, we talk about wanting to disappear and get off the net. We're talking about wanting to preserve what we think as ourselves and our data. And it's just, I'm like, how do we do that without walking around in a hazmat suit and a freaking Faraday cage and a lead-lined computer? And it's like, we're already facing an uphill battle. We know that.
Well, what depends on what you're trying to get around, right? We know that license plate cameras, there are quite a few creative solutions to avoiding license plate camera. I've actually seen, and I'll have to look it up, but I've seen some different prosthetics that folks are trying to use to fool facial recognition.
Yeah.
Changing some of the key points. I don't know, analog seems to still fool digital. So, do you have to go with the rubber nose and the and the fake eyebrows when you go shopping at Target so you don't get surveyed? Maybe.
It's like do you remember a couple of years ago when they were looking at the LiDAR sensors and the ability to put little small pixels on some of the road signs, and it completely confused the hell out of the language intelligence based systems that were actually going, hey, that's a stop sign, and they just blew straight past it because that little square on there turned it into something completely different. You're right, analog is, but my question, I said, a couple of follow-up questions. One, how much longer is that going to be the case? We already have surveillance cameras that can see past the mask. So you wearing your mask doesn't do a damn thing for it anymore. We have that. And you've already got systems now that even, there was an amazing one, or a scary one, depends on how you look at it, that was looking purely at a capture of a face and understanding from that capture of a face the accuracy rates on what your voting preferences are, what sexual preferences are, and what other things it was actually figuring out about you just based off of, going through billions of other faces online and going, hey, we got an 80th percentile hit. I mean, that's starting to get really freaking interesting. And again, are we too far? Are we just gone to a point now where I can't lock in myself in a box under a volcano because it's just too freaking light? How do I protect myself these days?
Limiting exposure. That staying 6 feet away from technology. Stay 6 feet away from people and 6 feet away from technology. Wear your mask. Limited exposure. That's really the only thing you can do to reduce your risk. At the end of the day, if you're going to live modern life, you're going to make a lot of trade-offs about privacy. You're going to make a lot of trade-offs about who gets your data and where it goes. I think being informed, reading the EULA, being careful not to accept all the default checkboxes when you install something, know what permissions it uses.
I don't know. Fuck it. They won't live by the EULA anyway.
All right. Okay. So so go back to the EULA. This again. Okay. So we're using, what are we using? We're using YouTube. I gotta be honest, I haven't read YouTube's EULA. But I bet if I did, I mean, then the question becomes, well, we don't use YouTube. Well, where can we go? What can we use? And is there a platform out there where that end user license actually does, I wouldn't say benefits me, but doesn't hold me detrimentally harmed at all points in time? I mean, is there? It ain't Zoom. Sure as hell probably isn't YouTube.
No, because that's lawyers for you. They want to make sure that there's no nothing, no blowback, no harm. And then, Rule 203. I don't know. I say limit your exposure, right? That's all you can
exposure,
really do.
But exposure to what?
So exposure to getting your data spilled everywhere. If you only
what data?
Well, your personal information, your birth date, your name, your address, all that good stuff.
Okay, but and that's where I think we have to start. Define the personal data. Define what it is I'm trying to protect. If I'm trying to protect my birth date, well, that's something different than trying to protect an image of my face. Right? My strategy would be different on, depending on the data type. So I think you have to first start with defining all the data types that I'm concerned about that make up me, my identity, my privacy, and then go next.
Okay, so I love it, but that's subjective. And we see that reflected in the current privacy laws across the nation. What is PII varies very broadly from state to state right now.
Right.
And I agree you have to do that inventory, but then do we get to a point where we create either a universal standard that says, is this all encompassing? If I've ever been anywhere near, said, or had to do with, it's covered. Or is it a consent based where you're like, I'm comfortable with the following data elements, but not the others. And we do it that way, opt in, opt out on specific data. Some stuff you can't help. If you're in public, you're in public. The current law is you're in public, you're photographable and trackable. In private, it's a different story. In public? Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. I mean, the problem is in public and in private are the property line, right?
What was I missed that one. What was it? Can somebody photograph me in public?
So you can, right? The law is very clear that if you're in public, you are able to be photographed, videotaped, whatever.
Yeah.
And the line of that privacy starts at essentially your, front door of your house. So to Evan's point, if someone, should they be able to follow you and track you? Well, technically, yes, because you're in public.
But I would say let's not go with what the current laws are, because the current laws are broken. I mean, we would be trying to define something that would change the law, wouldn't we? I mean, we'd have to change the law. If we're ever going to answer this question about how would I protect my data, the only way to be able to do that is to change the way we do things. If we have a shit chance in hell, you know?
I mean,
Well,
so
and
okay,
that's
now
where
let's follow that thread for a second. Us, the common man, woman, child, beast, and everything else versus, I don't know, some of the biggest organizations on the planet and states who want that data. That is one hell of an uphill struggle.
industry.
Yeah,
that is an
Also-
industry unto itself.
Well, so then if that's true, then it's to some extent the question's a moot question.
Yeah,
It doesn't
well,
really matter.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So this is what it gets to the depths of it. We are here every single fucking day fighting to preserve something that one might already be lost anyway, that two, society demands that they actually have access to. So as nice as I can put it, why in the hell's name are we trying to do this?
Well, because not all is lost yet. Okay, so here's one that fits with this. The concept of a digital identity as issued by a government, a singular passport to the digital world, if you will, eliminating the need for all these different logins and registrations and passwords and all this stuff. You just have your government issued digital ID that's tied to your driver's license, and you use that for your perusing of the digital world, and you're held accountable just like in the physical world. That obviously has privacy impact, but one of the ways that you do get this under control, if you're going to change the laws and things, is simplification. So should the data need to be a million different places, or do they just need a token from Uncle Sam that says, yes, he is who he says he is?
Right. Which,
and you don't need all this other stuff because we're vouching because we maintain the master data set.
So
but then do you want Uncle Sam master data set?
Evil last time.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, who owns the master data set? And let's follow this next part through. You can go talk to Jesse and say, hey, I need to give you a centralized, federated identity that overmasters everything, and we'll control it, we'll look after it. You got a fucking shotgun in both knees and the axe before you can say boo. And that's just him. You try doing that in the middle of fucking Nebraska or Wyoming or up in your neck of the bloody woods.
Yeah.
How y'all doing? I just want to get a single.
Yeah. But if you put it in a phishing email and make opting in part of a phishing campaign, you're good. You gotta make it a gift card. There needs to be a reward.
Right. Good luck on that one.
Well, then regulation, right? I mean, I guess that's where this road leads, because that's the compromise point between the ability to secure it and making folks take that as serious as they can, and then dealing with the consequences when it doesn't work out. We did it with driving, we do it with flying.
If I had a tactical nuclear weapon to hand at this point in time, I'd probably just drop it on Tim. Tim's like, just use the blockchain with AI and ML. It'll be safe. But so that's fun. Okay, so fundamentally, Evan, what are your thoughts? Because we're trying to protect something that even society itself and the state itself wants. It wants it in the open. It's building an infrastructure to put it into the open. And yet we in the security community are fighting it.
Well, I think it's because they don't understand what they're asking for. You know, they don't play it out. What does this lead to? Where does it go? Right? We can see down the road a little bit because, we do this every day. So we know that, this is not a happy place where you're heading.
No,
so we're trying to stop. And I think where we've sucked at it is the reason why they want it is because they don't understand the consequences, and we haven't done a good job of explaining it. The only way you're going to get regulation that's going to be worth a shit, the only way you're going to get laws that are going to be worth a shit is if the population demands it.
But the
Right.
population
Because
doesn't
that's what the elected officials do. They're the ones who create laws. So they're not going to do anything unless it becomes an election issue.
But
So,
I mean, the population is embracing this. It's embracing the convenience. It's embracing the fact that with one click, I can order from Amazon with one nod in the general direction of a system. I can pay for all of my goods with one easy push of a button. I can do something, and all of these other things. And so, we are sat there trying to protect people from being able to do that. We still want to give them access to it in a safe and secure manner. But, that image that you've got behind you does not imply safe and secure. It implies that every single thing that you have and you are is out there for the taking.
right. And so when you boil it down, what it is you're selling yourself for the convenience, right? You're selling your very identity, who
Yeah.
you are, for the sake of convenience. So
Yeah.
if that's the trade-off, I mean, I guess if people are comfortable with it, there's not much you can do about it.
So then
You
again,
can
I'll go
continue to
back
try
to,
to
yeah.
you can
Why are
keep
we even trying to do what we're doing? On that note, I'm going to go get some water because I'm out of water and I actually need to hit the bathroom too. So I'll be back while that existential crisis of why are we even an intercept has to be on.
well,
Hope.
and I got to go pee. I got to go pee. I got to go pee too. So when he gets back, I'm going to take a. When you get to be 50 years old, man, you got to pee more often.
I've been told
Plus,
this.
Richie, if Richie's watching today, this is water. Water tastes like. Yep.
Tastes like water. Mm-mm.
Doesn't taste like nothing. There's
No,
nothing.
you got to
in it.
get the good stuff. You got to get the bubbly water.
Right. So to Chris's point, why do we do this?
For me, I hold out hope. I hold out hope that, we're not completely over the cliff yet. So if we are going to go over the cliff, I think there's still something to be done before we get there. So that's worth doing. And B, I hold out hope that enough people are going to, unfortunately, enough people are going to get hurt that then things will finally start to change and it will have been worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I don't know, man. I do it because, I sleep well at night knowing that I'm fighting the good fight, right? This is where I think we're on the right side of right. I don't think the places we're going with the things we're doing, it's an ugly, evil place, man. I mean, you're already starting to see some of that shit boil up, right? The control of information, misinformation. I mean, fuck, everybody's identity is already stolen anyway, right? When is it going to be used, right? I think right now we can all agree that everybody's identity is stolen. It's like, and what?
Right. I think the data collection has happened. And what? And who? Right? And how? The problem that I think is that with the identities because it isn't just your face and name and all that stuff. People's actual identities, if they're content creators, are out there. Their personalities, these things, if somebody wanted to deep fake the shit show, it wouldn't be hard to do. There's enough content that you could do it quite easily. Mm-hmm. Please don't do that. Or if you do, make it funny.
Yeah, make us funnier and better looking a little bit. But
I think, you have enough there then to cause real harm. Some of the phishing campaigns, the one you sent out in the text, the voicemail was so detailed and specific and fitting. Now, there were a few things that were off enough about it, right?
Well, the one that you sent it to the CEO of the company.
One of which being it wasn't true.
Well, and two, you said you sent it to the CEO of the company.
Right.
The fuck am I going to do with that? But it was good enough that it actually made me think twice. I actually questioned in my mind for a couple of seconds, should I just forward this on to our accounting department? I mean, is this legit?
So let me ask a question of you three And you two, there's three of us. I'm including myself in this one. Let me ask a question of you two, because it follows on from this, but it also goes into something. Have you seen The Midnight Sky? It's a Netflix movie. George Clooney.
No, I don't think I have.
Same thing with the audience. My daughter was the one that said I needed to watch it. And I actually sat down last night and watched it. Really interesting, like really interesting movie. Short synopsis. There's a scientist that kind of tracks his life and tracks probably the last, say, 20, maybe 30 years of his life. And you get flashbacks on a fairly regular basis. And 30 years ago, they're looking for another planet. They found another planet and they're trying to figure out if it's habitable and all this kind of good stuff. And they're trying to find another planet, but there's no real motivation to find another planet. There's like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to find another Earth and colonize it. Yeah, kind of cool, really nice idea. So yeah, okay, it's kind of good. And then you get to look at another one and it's a bit further along. And what happens in the end is the whole premise of this is they had sent a spaceship out to go look at this other planet, figured out it was habitable and everything. And on the way back, this spaceship couldn't raise the planet, couldn't raise Earth at all. And what you end up with is this one scientist who spent his last 30 or 40 years, 20, 30, 40 years, trying to tell the Earth, shit's gone wrong, shit's gone wrong, shit's going wrong, shit's going wrong. And all of a sudden, shit goes wrong real fast. And literally almost the whole planet becomes uninhabitable. And he literally is the last person that's hanging on at the top of one of these, observatories, waiting for that spaceship to come into range so that he can tell them, don't come back. There's nothing to come back for. And I feel in some ways our security industry is very similar to that. We are sitting here now going, we got to get it sorted out. We got to get shit sorted out. We got to get it sorted out. You got to protect yourself. You got to get shit sorted out. And it's going to be too late by the time we do it. And so there's a part of me that wants to keep going with it and try and do the best, but there's a part of me that's like, well, fuck it, make hay while the sun shines, put my feet up, steal a bunch of money, go buy my F40, and say the hell with it, because people aren't going to listen.
Did you see my text about the place I'm buying? Did you see the text about the place I'm buying in? Did you see the text about the place I'm buying in Roatan?
Was that the one you sent out the other week? It looked absolutely amazing, like seriously ridiculously kind of cool in a really, really kind of fun way. Yeah, that was.
You come hang out with me.
I'm up for it. Seriously, I'll bring the F40. I'll rob the bank digitally blind for a while. Actually, I won't rob a bank. I'll do the hedge funds because they're fun. I'll take a hedge fund or two out on the way, and I'll come up in the F40 and we'll put off-road tires in the F40 and shit like that. Because I really am sitting here. You know, we're having this conversation now, and this has been kicking around the head for quite a while. And I kind of alluded to it in the post that I put out, which is, it's too late. 560 million cameras in China alone, you know, a couple hundred million in the UK, God knows how many in this country. Everything that we're doing and enacting and working and everything else on means that we have to hand our identity and our life over almost at every single transaction. And yet, no matter how many times we try to tell people, protect it, look after it, bury it under a fucking volcano in a Faraday cage lead-lined box, we just can't do that. And our window for escaping it is becoming narrower and narrower and narrower.
So what if we did something like this? If we defined all the, you know, the things that make us us in terms of our digital identity, in terms of our analog identity, whatever, and then created something that allow us to become a new us. So assume all my shit's already compromised.
Mm-hmm.
How would I create a new me?
Well, it starts with downloading Tor, going onto the darknet and getting yourself a new passport.
Okay, so here's the problem with that. And you know this now. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, not a bad problem, an idea to happen. But it's that age-old saying, you know, I mean, we've got a bunch of ILF people on here. It's the same thing, you know, you think you're having a conversation with a 12-year-old, you know, for the pedophiles that we're hunting, they all think they're having conversations with 12-year-olds. But more often than not, it's the big, hairy, scary thing, police officer, agency, ILF, or anybody else on there that's at the other end doing the fucking typing. It's getting to be the same way on the darker side of the net these days as well. You just don't know who you can trust. They just shut down a huge one. We just shut down what was it, last week, finally came down. And so it's getting to the point, you don't know who the hell you're buying a freaking passport from. Did you see the one in China? No, was it China? Where was it? It was somewhere. I hired Evan to kill my ex. Evan hires Ryan. Ryan hires somebody else. And there were like 8 of them in the dock at the same fucking time. They'd all subbed the job out to somebody else. It was crazy watching it, and it was all darknet stuff.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Hitman as a service.
Oh, it was crazy.
But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, even there, even in the supposed corners where things were safe and secure and hidden and all that, you don't know. I mean, you own some of the nodes.
Oh no, I own a lot of the nodes, and the ones I don't own, and the NSA's got a handle on, and the ones that they don't have, SVR's got a handle on, and the rest of them are owned by. I mean, that's it.
It sidetracked thought for a second, but I never understood why, if anyone took time to look into Tor, they didn't come to the conclusion that it was built by naval intelligence for the purposes of anyone? Bueller? I don't. Hey, the spy agency made a tool to talk to each other that requires your participation for it to work.
I know. We won't go there. We just won't go there.
That's public. I'm pretty sure. Mostly sure.
It's public enough. Let's put it. And again, if it ain't public and you can't fucking think about it, you've got bigger problems.
Right.
Oh dear.
So okay, all right. Now wait. I want to go down this road for a half second.
All right. Sorry.
There's the privacy and security side, and maybe that's a winning or losing, and we can make our new identities and do these things. What about the monetization side? Because I want to get paid for the use and abuse of my information. I want to be fairly compensated. It's now a commodity. It's a commodity that I produce, and I want some compensation for it. The trade when I signed up for the free service was, not put to me as we're going to make tens of billions of dollars off of tracking and collecting you over your lifetime. And here's some free email. What's up on a cut? What's up? Let's talk about if that's gonna, let's monetize this. They monetized it. Where's my cut?
No, you just hit a fucking perfect thing. Oh my God. Evan, you run a company. Ryan, you run a company. I run a company. Others on here run a company. Invoice. Every single time you get a piece of spam email from anybody in our industry or out of it, send them an invoice. Only ask me for $5 or $10. Send them an invoice.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right.
Spam fee?
Yeah. They've taken my time. They're on my email. They've done it unsolicited. Yeah, fuck it. Oh, hell yeah. I'm actually going to send Jen this.
What's the average time you spend on a spam email?
It depends. It can be anywhere from the 10 to 30 seconds to figure out it's spam, or it's somebody trying to get into you, or it can be a couple of ads if I'm venting and getting crazy on the thing.
Right, so 10 to 30 seconds. Should we say an average of 20 seconds?
No, because that's not going to be much money. I mean, even.
Wait, whoa. Don't confuse time with valuation, Chris. Hold on now.
All right, I'm sorry. Go for it.
I had a negative interaction with this spam email. Therefore, I deserve a higher rate of compensation for my painful and negative experience. So
mental anguish, man. I'm feeling fucking pain. I'm not sleeping tonight.
I want some pain and suffering dollars.
I
can't function in the bedroom anymore. Well, wait, that's okay.
I'm not putting that on the invoice. Although, oh my God, you could do that.
Spam is making me fucking impotent.
I'm under attack. I feel abused. Oh my God, we could have an amazing invoice. I don't care. Will's putting this. I don't care about collection. Will wants to do this because I want to see what happens.
Can spam make you impotent?
Yeah, because you're stressed. You're absolutely stressed because you're under attack.
Fuck yeah, I am.
People find you because people know where you are. Because people are hounding you, they're chasing you, they're continually wanting you. They need your time. They need your.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't function. Done.
No.
Oh my God, why didn't we think about this before?
Just start billing them.
Game.
Yeah.
Billing them for the hassle.
Yeah. Every single fucking spam message is coming in. It's getting an invoice.
We're gonna start a whole new unsubscribe trend. They'll unsubscribe you upon receiving the invoice.
Oh my God, we could. I hate to say it, we could do that. We could actually. I wonder if there's a way of doing. Okay, we need programmers. Who's a fucking programmer that's listening in on this? Like a serious somebody that's got some time spare. If we set up an invoice spam website.
Well, the programmer thing I was following along with. I was following along with the programmer thing, but then when you said time to spare, it was like,
no, yeah, I know. Okay, good point. Well, it needs to be not one of us because we're all running around like headless chickens. Here's what I want. What I would love. Let me rephrase this. What I would love is for people who get them to forward them to, invoice at invoicespammers.com or a PO. No, and I want them sent there, and then automatically an invoice is generated and sent out on their behalf.
I like it.
That's a service. That's like a custom service. That would be awesome. Oh shit. I mean, for now we can just, I'm just sending a message again. For now we can just invoice spammers. Invoice spammers. Spammers. I'm actually going to put this, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to put a LinkedIn post out about this tomorrow probably.
Works
you
for
guys
me.
okay with that?
I'm fine with it. I don't know. I think Evan went to pee.
You went to pee.
Something about being 50 and needing to pee. Then he left.
I don't want to hear that shit. Good. Skippy.
I'm catching up. But yeah, well, and there you go. I mean, that's a real consequence, right? Not that anybody's going to ever pay that invoice, but it's a hell of an interesting way to respond. Now, having said that, I do know if you want to put in the time and you're getting the robocalls, and if you can do the research to hunt it down and figure out who it is, you can actually a lot of times get them to agree to cut you a check versus paying the fines. But you've got to do all the legwork, and you got to chase it and chase it hard, because a lot of the robocalls are run by reputable companies that just skirt on the edge of the law because they know nobody's going to take time.
Yeah.
So if you take that time, a lot of times they'll cut you a check for just slightly below the fine amounts.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, so to me, it's
there's like YouTube's on it. There's a YouTube for it.
Hey, just a heads up. Rachel's yelling at us. I got her kids. Oh, she's totally cute. One of her kids just said goodnight to us on his computer. Totally awesome. I got it on the signal. All right, I just watched it. I don't think it interfered with audio. I have no clue. I didn't listen to it because we got audio going in 3 different directions here. Just void blasting. Nah, too much hassle. I don't want destructive, because destructive will get you yelled at. That's the problem. As Matt just said, just void blast. Some of the problems with doing that, that's potentially a CFAA violation.
Right.
And as much fun as it is, and as much as actually you could try to argue it, you will lose.
I believe the saying is, I'm gonna need a warrant for that.
Yeah, there we go. In there, yep, that'll be the one. But no, seriously, fuck it. I mean, okay, so it's not perfect, and it's only like a halfway house. But I really want something like that. I mean, I don't think there's anything. You hit the nail on the head, which is monetizing it.
Well, and back to something Evan said earlier, legislatively, I believe we need to assign a value here, that we need, if we're going to trade in data as a commodity, that there should be some type of something. You get something. Right? Maybe they have to donate. Maybe you don't want payment. Maybe you want to make your option they have to donate a certain percentage back to the government in taxes or support certain charities or something. But there should be some kind of mechanism that acknowledges that your lifestyle, personal information, shopping habits, all these things are valuable information. And so when you part with them, yeah, the free coupons are great, but wouldn't $10 be better?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, you're right. All right. So if we go with Rudy Giuliani's daily bill rate of 20,000, and we divide it by 8 hours, that's 2,500 an hour. Divide that by 60 seconds, that's basically just 41.6. So $42 a minute. So if you take Evan's 20 seconds, so we could, yeah, you could realistically turn around and say, you know what, you can send him an invoice for 10, 20, $30 without actually feeling too bad about the whole thing.
Right.
I like that shit. I'm
Here's what's going to be surprising. I wonder how many of the vendors will pay. I wonder how many of the vendors will treat it as and flag it and have to look into it.
Yeah.
Right. Because why are they sending us invoices?
But enough of us do that. We gum up their systems.
Well, and it sends a strong message.
Yeah. Enough of us do that. I mean, think about it. That dimwit that hit me up and said, hey, I'm just hitting you one last time, and I'm just hitting you one last time again. That's 4 fucking invoices. and that 10 of us do that, or 20 of us do that, or 50 of us do that, and we send them to accounting out or invoice out, and we can always find out where the right, I mean, it's easy enough for us to crowdsource where all the right accounting people are, and all that kind of good stuff. That doesn't take much. Hell, we'll put up a fucking website. Did you get an invoice? Did you get a spam from this company? Here's who you send your invoice to. I want to do this. I actually want to do this because what I want is for 10 of us to send 5 invoices each, as we each get spammed from 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 of us, send a fucking bunch of these invoices back to, we can't say names. Well, we can say names. I can say names. So you guys don't get yelled at if I say names, do you?
Probably, yes.
All right. Okay. So
Evan doesn't care, but
to the world's most successful AI company, and the world's 100% company, and the world's
no. I want to send it to the people who will not stop trying to sell me the RSA list. I could buy a vacation home with the amount of RSA.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out.
Sorry,
my wife just sent me this. Dude, my wife just sent me this. This is our place right here. Check it out. Big price reduction. It's in Curacao.
Oh, is that same place?
Nice.
No, we're still shopping. We're shopping for other places too.
Nice. Hang on.
Check this out.
Where is that? Khaki? I don't know if I can live somewhere called Khaki.
Curacao.
Where?
Curacao.
Okay.
You can travel there, Chris. They haven't banned you from this place.
I was going to say I'm allowed to go there.
Yeah, but check it out, man. House with 3 bedrooms and 3 apartments.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That works.
You guys can each have an apartment, 5-minute walk to the beach for a nice or a dive.
Oh, nice. Man. Oh, ye gods. Okay, so talking about diving, geek out moment for a minute. I'm really fortunate on Wednesday evenings, like every couple of weeks on Wednesday evenings, one of the watch places that I hang out at and frequent does a webinar, and they bring in some of the major manufacturers, and they're amazing. I mean, they've been in business, family-owned business, since like 70s and 80s or whatever it is. And so last night they asked us, a couple of us, like last year, like, hey, who do you want to see? And I'm like, can I see Oris again? So last night they brought Oris on. Not only did they bring Oris on, but Oris sponsors a lot of really, really cool stuff. And they have done over the years 2 different homage watches to Carl Brochet. For those of you that don't know him, Navy diver, first black Navy diver. This is we're going back 50, 60, 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Right? First black Navy diver. He was when the US lost 3 nukes over, I want to say it was like Spain or somewhere like that, neck of the woods. 2 of them landed on land. 2 of the big US planes collided, unfortunately, and they lost 3 nukes. One landed in the sea. He was part of the team that found it. Unfortunately, he ended up getting himself injured afterwards, lost his leg. The Navy wanted to, evac him out basically, and he was like, "Fucking no." He managed to recertify and became a master. He became the Navy's first black master diver with a prosthetic leg, for fuck's sakes. And we're going back to the time when those suits were like 280, 300 pounds. They had his son. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. They had his son on last night, Phil, who's he's Army. He's like a master and aviator in the Army. Fucking amazing time last night. Just like one of those serious kudos moments. So just sorry, geeking out for a minute.
Yeah.
Because they've just released a third watch in his name, which is absolutely fantastic to see.
Spain.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Spain. Yeah, just one of those. His son was on Philbrook. He's Army. He'd be like he's been in the Army. Freaking one of those crazy people that flies Chinooks. One of the crazy window licker type people. Yeah, just amazing. Really, really cool last night. So yeah, sorry. Squirrels. Where were we?
I like watches. They're shiny.
But bringing it back to where, before you went for your bio break, man, you brought up the question, why are we doing this?
Yep.
And Ryan, your answer was hope. I'm not a fucking quitter, so I'll keep fighting this fight until we've absolutely lost it. When there's no hope, I'll just keep fighting. I do get paid well. We all get paid fairly well, so it's not like it's all for naught. But I'll keep fighting. There's got to be something we can do to fix this shit. And I understand that one line's going this way and the other line's going like this way, right? So the gap continues to widen. It keeps getting harder and harder. But fuck, we got to keep fighting, man. And when shit does go to shit, let's try to be here to fucking help put things back together again. Assuming we all, some of us live through it.
Oh yeah, that was my next thing. It's like, yeah, we are going to have. I like Jesse's. Jesse's got this. We got the middle of Nebraska. It sounds like you've got an island hanging out. I got the weapons and other things, so we should be in pretty good shape.
Dude, that's the plan. And it was funny because I was talking to Kevin, who's like, he's the dude that does money. And I suck at money. If you give me money, I'll buy another Harley. Don't give it to me.
Right.
But we were talking last weekend about, what I'm going to do in 959 days, and what that's going to look like. And I said, I'm thinking this thing. And he's like, well, let's start looking for properties. And I'm like, now? It's like, why not? I'm like, fuck, why not? I guess. So we started looking. I don't know what's going to happen, but Ryan, I'll have a space for you. Chris, I'll have a space for you.
Thank you.
I'll have a space for Rachel. Probably one or two of these other yahoos that come to this damn show.
Matt just said spam invoices domain is available.
You want me to register
I love the idea though. No, I do love that idea. And I do hope, and I say I hope, I am planning. I am doing everything I can to work towards being in a position where I can do something like that once I get a couple of things sorted out in life. Yeah, it's
See, I don't need an island. I just need good friends who have islands.
There we go. See, that always works better. Yeah.
And good friends that you can that you're not gonna kill and yeah. Well, that's the plan, man. That's been the plan for a long time. Is let's build a place where we can treat people. The FR Secure folks and Security Studio folks, man. Anytime you want a vacation, you just call me. There's no cost. It's the way I serve back to the people who got us there. But so that'll be fun. That's why it's got to be big enough to, have people come.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I'll bring the cars and the weapons and the reloading bays. I
got you guys covered on the primitive side. I'll get the wood, rocket stoves and all the blacksmithing. I'll start, rebuilding us from scratch.
Yeah. I'm loving that
Like
idea. We're going to need some of that. I'm useless with my hands, by the way. I'll tell you that for nothing.
Well, that's what you, I can help with that.
But going back to my idea, I mean, I think at that point, assuming you have proper protections in place around your assets, my identity itself beyond that doesn't really matter all that much. I don't really give a fuck what you're saying about me online. I don't give a shit if you have images of, when I was in Minneapolis at whatever time where I'm there aren't those images anymore.
I think you brought up a good point, which is, I know I talked about the digital life and the computer and the systems and everything else, but it is an interesting one because it is, what do we have left to care about? Maybe that's a good way of looking at it. What do we have left to lose? And what can we do about it? Maybe that's another way of looking at what you were saying, Evan, about, what do we have? It's my question, I think, is what do we have left? And then what do we have, how can we protect it?
Well, if you look at the current condition we're in,
yeah,
right now, there's no commonly perceived threat, right? Like, okay, so they got my bank card. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. Oop, yep, they hacked my Facebook. Oops, but I got it back. Like,
yeah.
And because it's not being overtly used to control yet, it's currently, being subversively used to manipulate and control. People are accepting of it because the threat is invisible, right? We keep going down this path. We get to a point where it becomes visible, and then everybody's like, well, what happened? So right now we sound like crazy people yelling about, hey, don't share that with Facebook. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? You're ruining the fun. And then there's going to come that day where somebody is using it. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's going dark places. It's people, the hate, the bots, the AI bots, what am I even talking to? Is this a human? No, most likely not. And then what happens when they generate information about your identity? What happens when we get to a point where your digital identity is able to be easily duplicated?
Well, then that goes back to the fundamentals, back to Evan's point, which is, what do we have left to care about? What do we have? What do we fight? Well, actually, that is a good way. What are we fighting for?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we don't even ask. I mean, that's a great question, man. And it's a good fundamental question.
Yeah.
What are we fighting for? What matters?
Yeah.
Does it matter if you see my social media shit? No. Right. I know that shit's public. That doesn't bother me. Look at all that shit. Does it matter if you look at my emails? Probably. I'll recover. It's not going to fucking kill me or anything.
Yeah.
If you steal my social security number, that'll hurt a little bit more. I care a little bit more about that one. My passport number, I care about that one. Probably a little bit more. My location tracking, do I care that you know where the fuck I've been? Probably not that much. Do I care that images of my face? Probably not that much either. So yeah. I think it's trying to take an inventory of all of the data types that are about me, so that I can prioritize my approach on the things that I actually give a shit about. And start there.
Yes, I agree. But okay, to your location data, I want to pick that one apart for a second. So right now, no big deal. No one's doing anything with it, like saying, oh, well, Evan happened to be around this person, and because he's been around this person, he's now a bad person as well. Like, I think that I fear that stuff's going to start to spread more. We've already seen division of, if you're with this party or that party, don't talk to me, right? I'm done with this side or that side. How long until that data, that location data, just that by itself, hey, we don't really like the areas you're going around or the people you're being around, and we're going to group you in with them, even though maybe that's not you. Maybe you're trying to save them, talking to them about Jesus, and they're, you know, they're wanted criminals, but you happen to have been called at that moment, and now you're dealing with it. Now that's obviously an extreme example, and we know how that one plays out, but
well, there are places I go where I don't want people to know where I leave my phone at home.
Well, I agree with that.
I just did that today because I drive a vehicle that doesn't have location tracking on it unless somebody put some fucking thing on, you know, some spy shit tracker on my bumper or something. So when I go places, you know, other than what they're catching on camera, and I live in rural Minnesota, so, you know, there's not a ton of cameras out here yet. So for the most part, where I go around here, there's tracking of that. But, you know, I get on a plane, you know exactly where I'm going.
Right.
You know, there's not much you can do about that stuff.
Okay,
right now.
but then should Google be able then to prompt you up that information? Because I only gave my data to Delta, and now Google's adding it to my calendar for me automatically without my consent.
No, man, it shouldn't. In my opinion, nobody should ever use one bit of data about me ever without my permission. That's the way I feel. But the reality is,
I gave Delta that permission. Granted, I didn't read the EULA, right?
Right. And so I think we're arguing about that. We're arguing about the same thing, though, man, because you're pointing out things that are wrong. You know, and so then what are we going to do? We can either status quo, live with it, roll over, or we can try to figure out what solutions we could present. Because one of the things that's not going to work is to go to my senator or go to my, you know, state representative or whoever and just bitch about it, right? Because they don't. If we just that, then what they're going to do is what they always do, is create some stupid ass law that doesn't fucking work. So I think what we need to do is figure out, okay, here's the things that really fucking matter to me, and let's start making bite-sized chunks on this. And here's the solution that I want you to implement. You know, I don't know. We could try it.
Love this one. I found there's others out there. I wanted, actually, what's interesting is, again, that's what I love about Google and I hate about Google. When I look for one nation under surveillance here, I get all the American flags and the Illuminati and all the other stuff. When I do the same thing in the UK, I get stuff similar to this and everything else. I haven't done it in, I changed my proxy while I was sitting here for a second. And it, again, same thing. It's really interesting. Same search, totally different result. Actually, I need to put the Russian proxy on in a second and see what it does then. That would be an interesting. I'll probably get reported to the FSB.
Oh, yeah.
There is no surveillance. We are merely helping you navigate through life.
So if we were to take an inventory of all the data that is out there about us that they think belongs to us, you know, I think you start there. You prioritize which data types are the most important, and you start working through what's a potential solution. You know, because different types have different solutions. Take my social security number, for instance. That's used in a whole bunch of different places for a whole bunch of different reasons.
Right.
So I'd have to account for that or change that to bring that more under control. You know.
And then it's, you know, and to that point, at this point, I mean, your social's already out there. No two ways about it. I mean, you know, pretty much so. We almost have to assume that everybody's is at least a couple of times just to make sure. You know, thanks,
right.
Equifax, we love you dearly. Let alone OPM, let alone...
So I think what you'd have to do there is you'd have to redesign a system that actually would keep it secure, or if not keep it secure, give me the ability to control it as it belongs to me. Give me the ability to change it.
Right.
And once you've done that, then you almost have to do a nationwide social security number reset.
But I don't. The problem is we're going to be doing that every 5 minutes, and so here's that. So this is. I know there was a conversation. It's actually it was on the. Somebody hit me up on the LinkedIn post I said and was talking about, almost containerization / tokenization of us ourselves. So we'll go back to the one-time use pad. I don't have a social anymore. I have a one-time cryptographically challenged use pad that verifies that I am who I am. Well, how is that generated? How is it safe? How is it secure? But I think we have to go to something like that. I mean, it's, but then who
why not
wants
just
to work with?
scan your face and generate a code?
No, can't change your face.
That's again. So there's that.
Bullshit. There's an entire industry around changing of your face.
I'm not going to run around for the rest of my life with fucking bits of tape staked to bit. And this beard, this is here to stay for as long as I physically can. Shit ain't getting changed.
Wait. We ain't talking about whether you want to change your face. You can. You can call a doctor right now and change your face.
What's Rachel yelling at? What have I done now? Here, I'm just going to hit
I don't want to do it.
Whatever system you build to secure it, you're always going to have to build a system. You're going to have to build a system that allows for adaptation and change it.
Yeah.
Because it will be attacked. It will be compromised. I will need to change things.
That's why I
that's where the digital driver's license, right? Because think about this. In the analog realm, our driver's license or state issued ID is the thing that we hand over to the various people at the various places that we need to do that. But we maintain control over it, right? We might let them make a photocopy if it's, for work or, vaccines or whatever we're doing, but we control that and we make that one-time decision there, and it's usually stored in an analog format. The difference is when they start scanning it. Now, schools has an interesting technology where they scan the IDs and then scan the sex offender registry database. And we're all very comfortable with that. And we make that trade. So why can't we just adopt a digital version of that? And that becomes my identity proofing online. I just get my little USB box. I scan my ID through. I swipe my ID through. I have the analog mechanism in my hand. We already have that delivery system in place. And now I've secured my transaction that I'm doing.
So got it. Love it. Now 350 million Americans, of which a significant number of them don't really want to go through any kind of mask-based system, let alone any kind of vaccine, because apparently the vaccine is containing nano robots that are affected by 5G, and you want to walk up to every single one of them saying, hey, we're going to give you a centralized identity.
Nano robots are cool.
I know they are. I just wish they did what everybody seems to think they do.
They're working on it. I mean, what is real ID? Yes. Real ID, it's just right now it's airplane folk, but what happens when it becomes the car folk? Right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing with people though, the herd mentality, and you always have the outliers. So if people that actually give a shit about this, if you design the system, build the system, the people that care will do this, right? The ones that don't, all right, fuck yourself then. I mean, we have a solution for you. And if you don't want to follow it, because it's only going to take a few of them to get fucked over before they're going to be like, okay, let's go ahead and do this thing. Because you can't help everybody. Some people just don't want to be helped. But for the people that actually want to get helped, people that want to help, or what we're going to do when shit really does hit the fan and this whole thing fucking blows up. How are we going to rebuild it and not repeat the same fucking mistake?
Hold that thought for a second. So actually Rachel has a good point, and it actually brings back something I actually wanted to talk about before we lose this thread. Here's a counter argument to 560 million cameras or whatever. So back in 2017, I was over in the UK, around about May timeframe. I was over there. I was about to give a lecture to a bunch of folks in the nuclear industry. The UK is one of a few countries that has ships capable of moving nuclear waste around the place. And we found some interesting stuff, and we were going to have a long conversation with them. So I'm sitting in my hotel room, and all of a sudden, I get a phone call. And they're like, A, turn the news on, and B, get in the fucking car and head north. And it was from some folks in DC, and it was because the Ariel Grande, the Manchester bombing, happened. I get in my car, probably within 5-10 minutes. I headed north. By the time I got to that neck of the woods, as basically was I going to do as basically part of the intel team on the US side to help them do it. By the time I got up there, it was probably less than an hour later. They'd already pulled every single surveillance camera from around the area, already identified half the people involved in some of this stuff, and had NOC teams out deployed, making friends and families and famous people by dragging people out of bed. So we get in there and they already had all of this done because of the surveillance capabilities. And that to me was one of those, as much as I hate it, it really, really has its freaking uses at times. We see the same thing with Boston. We saw the same thing with other places where it is deployed and it is used for the good of society and for the good of protecting people. Then I actually don't have that much of a problem with it, if that makes sense.
And I would agree.
Yeah.
Single use, right? Single purpose, I should say.
Yeah.
Well, who was it? It was Jake Williams on Twitter posed a question. No, who the hell was it? No, it was John Strand.
Yeah.
You remember when the internet, first started?
Some of us, there's probably some kids on here who have no freaking clue. As far as they're concerned, the internet started with the Xbox.
Right, but how it made you feel and what we used it for, right? I used it for entertainment, education, communication. I mean, it was good shit. Just like every technology, you've got the good shit and you got the bad shit, right? The good shit, yeah, fuck, all the technology we use has good shit. The problem is people. People don't use it for the good shit. So for camera images, yeah, we should have specific, strict laws on how we use those things. And then we need to have some transparency to make sure that us as citizens know that the government is following the laws. I mean, you just have to have some sort of checks and balances like everything else so that it's not abused. I don't mind any of this shit, the abuse of it, where I get fucked.
Well, and that's it. It's we got to narrow the purpose and we have to have transparency and accountability. But where's the money in that? That's the problem we're going to run into, right? And back to the people problem. But where's the money in that? They want to monetize. I saw a vendor present a video detection system for law enforcement and like big stadiums and stuff, right? It's what they used at the Super Bowl here in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the sales pitch was, and in addition to this, we can do this type of data collection that has these other commercial purposes, fashion, right? We can see what people are wearing. We can get all this additional demographic data, all while doing its one job. And of course, they had the option to not, turn those features on, but should it even have those features in the first place? Or do we need to hold those manufacturers to a higher standard and say, you're building this for safety and security, it doesn't have another purpose in it? Because even if they don't turn it on, it could still be turned on by somebody, that accesses the system from outside.
Well, it's just like anything, man. I mean, what are acceptable uses and what are not acceptable uses? You know what I mean? You have to define it. We haven't defined shit.
And we have to fucking stick to it. Perfect example. You guys, I can't remember which one of you it was that brought it up a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the COVID tracking device, the COVID tracking system on the phones. And, we were all sitting there going, don't do this shit, don't do this shit. And then they did it in a few places. And they did it going, with hand on, whatever the hell the heart is, with hand on heart, we will make sure that we only ever use it for tracking COVID people, and that's all we're ever going to do it. And if you keep in contact, and what happened to it? It ended up getting used in court cases.
Well, I like the way actually Minnesota, which that they open the source code, so everybody could see, you know, what it actually did, you know, in terms of their tracking. And it wasn't personally identifiable, right? It truly was for the common good type of thing. But it's the transparency that I think is sorely missing in so many uses of technology. We don't know. I don't know where all my data goes. I share it with, you know, a company that I think I trust, and then fuck, where's it go from there?
I don't know if anybody's done that, and it would actually be a really interesting experiment, especially, you know, for those of us in the industry. For those of us in the industry that are aware, that do take some cares, that do think about it, that use burners and all this other stuff, it would be, I mean, I've run multi-go transforms on myself, and it scares the shit out of me. I mean, I've got full clear access, clear and LexisNexis access, and I do that every now and again. But just the places that data goes, it would be really interesting to actually run that. I'm not sure if anybody's actually done that thoroughly to go, you know.
Provenance, right? Tracking it all go. I mean, but you're going to need that framework, right? And maybe that's the solution. Maybe we need a data provenance framework so we can actually track this stuff and be able to enforce and show if it's going somewhere it's not supposed to go, if it's being used for a purpose other than what was consented to. Actually, a good friend of mine has done some work on kind of mapping out what that looks like. I'll send you guys something offline, but that's where this has to go if you want, because you have to track it, right? Who's to say they didn't give it to another third party?
Right. Most of them do, let's face it.
Yeah, and the only way you can enforce it is that the data itself is attached to metadata about the privacy requirements for that data.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we talked about it earlier. Sorry, go on, Evan.
No, I was just saying that's the only way to be able to do it is metadata or, you know, malware. I'll get in trouble if I start sending that shit.
No, but it's true. I mean, what the hell did I do the other day? I paid, I think I ordered something online, food. I ordered food online, and then I'm getting freaking messages, and now I get, it's the thing I think that pisses me off probably more than most, and I think it is why I am going to start sending fucking invoices to people, because it's like, I used your service the once. I bought my food online to go pick it up, because you know what, that's the only freaking way I can do it these days. And you want an email address, so I give you a burner one, and then literally you start spamming the burner. I didn't want to be added to a list. I didn't want to get put on a list. I didn't want to know the fucking specials from you and 6 other people. I just wanted the damn food that I ordered, because I can't go in there, I can't sit down. You're forcing me into this fucking situation, and now you take advantage of me, you bastard. That's what's pissing me off.
And that's happening with all data types.
I know. I'm sending them an invoice. Seriously, it's fucking. They're gonna start getting invoices. I'm gonna work it out. I'm gonna work with
wondering with the QR codes at the restaurant, how many marketing companies have said, "Ooh, and you know what else we can do with the menu? Here, you want to leave a token behind on their phone and see if they go to your competitor."
Okay,
you should send the government. You should send the government an invoice every time your identity is stolen.
No shit. And that's
they created the fucking Social Security. I didn't create that shit.
Yeah. So
and then you give it to me. I don't want it.
You guys have, I assume you guys have PayPal accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have Ryan's PayPal account.
Yeah.
Did you buy it on the darknet, and did you pay like 10 cents on the dollar or 20 cents?
I don't reveal my sources, bro.
So here's an interesting one. I was having to do something in PayPal. I know what it was. I haven't done personal expenses against HHS for like 6 months. And I looked at the other day, and I'm like, why the hell don't I have any money in my account? And I wanted to do something, and I'm like, why don't I have the money in my account? And I sat down with Jen, and she's like, would you keep paying for shit out of your personal account, that's HHS? You need to do expenses. So we actually sat down, did expenses. But in the process, she's like, okay, this is a PayPal thing. What is it? So I logged into PayPal, and I'm looking at these things. And then I'm like, hang on. And I went into, if you haven't done it, it's scary. I should go into your reoccurring payments section of PayPal. and see how many of those one-time payments that you pay to somebody where they put a stub in your reoccurring payments in case you buy from them again. And it's activated by them. I canceled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I canceled 9 of them yesterday. I bought like things, I bought like sweatshirts for the Rugrat, or I bought something, a piece of software or something like that. And I one payment, not even signed up for recurring payment, and it puts a stub in PayPal for like a recurring one. I'm like, you fuckers. You know, there's one for Harry and David's. You know, we sent a bunch of things out this year to various folks to say thank you. So we sent some stuff out. Harry and David's put one in. SmartPack put one in. Streamlabs put one in. Grubhub, for fuck's sakes. I don't even use Grubhub.
You do now.
Apparently I do now. And it's Paddle. And there's other, and I'm just like, what the hell gives you the right to do that? So yeah, I was kind of pissed, put it nicely.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, it's just stuff like that. And, you know, we're the ones, I mean, shit, I'm fairly fastidious at this stuff. You know, and yeah, I'm sitting there going, like, what the hell happened? Yeah, John Montgomery, resistance is futile. No shit.
It's all because you didn't renew your car's warranty.
Oh my gosh, that when you sent,
we would not be in this situation right now.
You've got to put the link to that or stream it on. You've got to share your screen or something. My God, it's perfect.
Let's see if I can get it pulled up.
Oh yeah, it is. If you can't, I know I've got it on our chat. That one was just, that one cracked me up. That one was just absolutely freaking perfect. You got it, or do you want me to bring it up?
Oh, if you've got it up, pull it up. Yeah, I gotta.
All right.
I keep all my stuff segmented.
Do my both. Hang on. So
segmented. What is that?
It's preventing cross-pollination from my devices. I segment them.
What if you really like cross-pollination?
Good for the garden. Bad.
Chat screen.
Oh.
This one. All right. So you guys should share. You should see this screen. The audio. How do I get audio on this stupid thing here? God damn it! How do I get audio on this stupid thing?
I don't know, man.
All right. I'm just gonna send the freaking thing over to people. I think that's the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah. How do you do audio?
I have no clue. Again, same thing. I'm kind of like Ryan. I do have things all over the freaking place when it comes to that. I'm just going to send it here. There we go. Oh,
should I see if I can play the
audio? Holy shit, that's a link. All right, you guys are going to hate me, but I'm going to send it. Oh, I can't send it. It's too long. It's 561 characters long.
Bitly.
Yeah,
Bitly.
Just about to hit. Oh my God, that was crazy. 560. I don't even know what the hell this thing's doing. I don't want to know what this thing's doing.
It's doing a lot.
Everybody.
I said it's doing a lot. It is TikTok.
Yeah, it is TikTok. So just a heads up, everybody. You're welcome to click on this, or you're welcome to put it in a sandbox and click on it. There we go. The invoices for the spam phone calls. Somebody just said invoices for spam phone calls. John did. That I give up. I got to be honest. I'm using. I use Hire for that, and that's about as close as I can deal with doing that stupid shit. But I know with emails, we can get most of those bastards. We can start sending emails to their accounting departments and stuff like that.
I like it.
I might go old school on their ass. I might send them a paper invoice. You might print it out, get an address, put it in an envelope, and send it. Because, oh yeah, I might go old school.
Well, you know what? If you do that, it'll increase the likelihood of it being paid.
Oh yeah, totally.
I can't say where, but I had a job once where we discovered there was invoices being paid for the better part of 17 years. And we're not talking like tiny numbers. We were, you know, it was a respectable number, 17 years, because no one knew what it did, what it was for. What they do was they paid it last year, and anytime they asked, do we need it, because no one knew what it was, they went, yeah, probably. And so they paid it again.
Oh my good grief.
So this might actually turn into quite a lucrative opportunity.
I'm all for it. You know, EFF, the Pink Tutu Foundation, ILF, you know, any of the military ones. There's a Special Forces Foundation that we give money to now. There's a bunch of really awesome folks there. Yeah, they could all do with the money. I have no problems passing that money through.
How much are we charging?
Yeah, actually, so I did a quick bit of math while you were visiting the restroom. If we take Rudy Giuliani's 20,000 a day that apparently he's been trying to charge, we divide it by 8 hours, you get 2,500. Divided by minutes, you get whatever it is. Basically, it's like 40, what is it, 41, 42, or $46 a minute. So, I mean, whatever we want to charge, I think we actually need to standardize.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I have a minimum 1 minute billing. And then I need to bill for the time to produce the invoice.
Oh yeah.
So we'll call it minimum billing 3 minutes.
So that's $129. That feels like a lot of money.
Sounds about right.
All right.
How much?
I don't know what your time's worth. Shoot.
Yeah. How much?
$129, $43 per minute. Chip actually just did the math online for us. I didn't, but I told him to put my calculator right. $43 a minute. And so, I mean, you could do that. We could actually break the invoice down. We could break the actually. Well, 1 minute billing. Shut up. No, we do. So lawyers are. Lawyers.
I was about to say, try to talk to an attorney for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a 6 minute invoice. Lawyers bill by 6 minutes. I like the idea, and actually, I can break the invoice down. I'll put an invoice template together. I'll actually fuck it. You okay? Yeah. Did we talk about this? That I would say I would do this on the LinkedIn's.
Yeah.
All right. Do you mind if I put a LinkedIn invoice together? Say again.
I think Evan heard you when you said it. I don't know.
Yeah, Evan, do you mind if I do this on the LinkedIn's? I'll put the invoice together.
No, yeah, I'll invoice.
I'll put an invoice together and I'll break it down, and I'll
Put my 16-year-old daughter to work. She can pump out some invoices.
Yeah. Jen, we can do it. I wonder if we can drop it into. We might be able to put it into QuickBooks. That'd be fucking awesome. Shepard, yeah, I will make sure that keep an eye on my LinkedIn. I'll do it. I posted about this. When did I put this post out for our shit show? Last night, this morning, last night, early this morning.
Yeah.
I try and just do it like 24 hours.
Yeah, I'll give my daughter a 50% commission.
Oh my God, I love that. I might do the same thing with the Rugrats. 21 hours. All right, so in 3 or 4 hours, I'll put the invoice.
And then the other 50% will give to ILF.
Yeah, I like that, Alison. There we go. Yeah, we'll yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna do this. This is going up on LinkedIn, and then I'll run it through HHS with a whole bunch of it. Fucking reposts on this. I want the website. I kind of want the website so that we can actually track. We can actually track who to send the invoices to. If they're going to email the invoice, who the invoices get emailed to. Let me noodle on that for a little bit. I might put something together. Oh, I can put a doc. I can put a Google Doc up. I'll just do an open Google Doc, and we can just have the company's name and who gets invoiced.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too.
Rachel's going to sleep.
See, we actually solved something. Fascinating.
I don't know if we solved something. I don't know if we did. I don't feel like we have gotten to the point where we are hiding under although actually I'm not entirely certain if hiding under a volcano or a fucking lead box is even going to help these days. Some bugger's going to find us on fucking TikTok probably. Some influencer's going to find us a good way. Oh, yeah. Hey, that reminds me.
We've solved for what to do about spam email.
Yeah, actually I like that. Hey, that reminds me, the pair of you, congratulations for being cybersecurity influencers.
Congratulations to you as well, sir.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're all cybersecurity influencers. I was going to do a post on it, but I might actually do it on the weekend. That way, it kind of sneaks away. I got to be honest. This is one of those few times because I had no fucking clue. Literally, one of my clients told me, they're like, "Hey, can we put a thank you out?" I'm like, "What for?" They're like, "You got an award." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "No, seriously." And then they sent it to me. I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, I didn't know about that." And then I looked at it. I saw YouTube reprobates on there, literally in the same cluster as me. And I'm like, "Well, fuck it, this is awesome."
Okay, so straight up, when you sent it to me,
yeah,
I thought you might have made it to try to fish me because it's out of Colombia.
I'm sorry. No, I don't know where.
So I'm just saying, you sent me an international link. I'm like, what's he up to?
Oh, come on. Friends don't fish, friends.
Well, so I thought about that, but then I saw my mug and your mug on there, and I'm like, well, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. I had no freaking clue. I do actually. I got to be honest. I might actually put a post out about this just because I didn't know. I didn't see it coming. I had no clue. I haven't even said thanks to the folks. I just want to say thanks. Like, however this happened, by whatever the hell metric you figured this shit out, I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of us that had no fucking clue that we were in the running for anything in the first place.
Seriously. Like, aren't they supposed to like send you an email or something letting you know, like, congratulations?
Oh yeah, either that or they want money. Either that or we're gonna get a demand. We're gonna get a fucking invoice.
Oh, that's what it's gonna be. Yep. Now you figured it out. That's exactly what it is. The invoices are coming to us.
I just thought about that. We're gonna get a $1,200 invoice.
You want to stay on this list? You need to pay.
Right.
Oh gosh. Oh, they're gonna hate me.
We'll see.
All right, I am going to work on this. I have work to do tonight. I gotta get an article out for CSAIL Mag. I gotta get something over to Seth and Monica, who are some amazing folks that we deal with on aviation and yachting security. They want to go after. We do a bunch of stuff like high net worth folks, and quite a lot of them have all these weird bits and toys, and we've been breaking into them, and so they want to put something together to help them understand better and go shopping for people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll I want to put this.
We got some shit. You got some shit on your list, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
We talked about that. We talked about that today. Like,
yeah.
Fuck.
I got shit on the list. That's for sure.
How the hell did it get to be 11 o'clock?
That's good.
I didn't even see where the time went. I thought it was like getting on for an hour. It's been getting on for 2 hours. We've been talking. I thought it was only an hour.
It's because it's been enthralling.
This has been a bit of an effort.
Hasn't it?
I almost kind of want to carry on this one for somehow or other.
Well,
not tonight, but no.
Honestly, man. Honestly, I do think that there's. I think there's a solution. You know, it's not an easy one, but fuck, half the shit I do ain't easy anyway. So I think you can solve it. I really do. Whether or not people are going to buy in, whether or not you're going to get the traction you're going to need, or whether you're just going to be able to build the structure for when the shit actually does hit the fan, then you can present the structure. Like, here, do this. But I think we can build it. I mean, I think you can define all this shit. You know, I believe. Hallelujah.
Sorry, I'm just checking. Whenever I set my screen back to normal, I want to see if it's mirroring. I want to make sure that that way is actually going the right way on the screen. It isn't. It drives me nuts. Please hold. Fucking mirror. There we go. There we go. That's better. Now everything's in the right place. When I reach over that shoulder, I actually do hit the computer. Right? Yeah. Okay. I know what I'm on about.
Heck yeah.
I like it.
All right.
Well, fun stuff.
My work this evening is to get a good-looking invoice out that can be put together, filled out, and sorted out. So I'll do that. I'll do the billing. Yeah, I'm gonna put that together. Fuck it, that's going together, and I'll put a post out in about 3 or 4 hours time. And then I'll probably create like a Google Doc or something where we can track, like, the company and an accounting name or somewhere where we can send it back to. And I'll share that out. I'll share that link as well because I want to do that. Oh, Chips just put it up. That's fucking awesome. For $29.95, we can waive the fee.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Chip, you are the wind beneath my wings. I love you for that one. Oh my gosh, you are awesome. Oh, you are so freaking awesome. Yeah, I will. All right, let me come up with something that I'll figure something out. That's my work for this evening. If anybody wants to hit me up on LinkedIn and has some ideas and wants to put some thoughts together on it, hit me up, because this will go out this evening. My last post went out like 21, 22 hours ago. So this will go out this evening. This is going to be like tomorrow's post that goes out later on tonight. And I will make sure that there is a template for it, or however we get the templates up. I'll make sure it's a Word doc or something, and then I'll have the pointer to a Google Doc. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'll be up for a couple more hours. I got an assload of shit to do.
You got stuff to do as well.
Yep. That's why I was hydrating, man. Keep the water.
Yeah. This is like glass number 2 so far this evening.
It's good. We're healthy folks.
I just threw out all crisps, bunch of the chocolates, candy, biscuits, the whole lot. I just had to, because I'm snacking at night too much, and so it's gone. And I want a February reset. I want to spend some time in February just resetting everything, getting back healthy again, because I'm not in the shape I want to be, and I don't like myself at the moment because of it. So February is the reset month. So if I'm a little grouchy, I apologize. Come in the middle of February, but I'll get through it and I will get back on track.
Well, we're in this shit together, man. I think I'll do the same thing. So let's support each other in that. You know, I mean, I'll check in.
If you guys are doing
I'll check in with you and see how you're doing. Yeah.
Ryan, you're all skin and bones anyway. There's nothing to you.
No, but that's the problem. So I'm now at the point where I have to, because I don't work labor jobs anymore, and I crest that magical age of 40.
Yeah.
I now get to be a gym bunny, because if I don't, there's going to be nothing left.
Yeah.
It's like, the COVID-19 didn't stick.
Yeah, mine did too much, and I'm out of practice. And with gyms being closed, and honestly, a bunch of other things as well. I am not looking after myself, and I'm feeling it. I'm back to when I was training heavily, my knees started to hurt because of the amount of weight I was carrying. I mean, I was about 320 pounds, but it was stupid solid muscle because I was throwing heavy objects long distance. I'm not that weight now, but I'm mid high 200s, and I can feel my knees hurting, and I'm like, I have to shift this weight for my own good.
Right. Yeah, my energy levels are definitely suffering.
Yeah.
Endurance is down. It's time to get moving.
Yeah. Maybe that can actually be a conversation we can talk about. Maybe we hit that one, maybe not next week, but the week after or the week after that or something. Maybe I'll do on my next time around, the next one, which is 3 weeks, because you two guys will go after. We'll do a check-in and just see how everything's going. I like that idea. That'd be kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah. Content suggestions for next week. I think it's my show next week.
Yeah, totally.
Figure out something.
Yeah. You guys
controversial.
Just a heads up, you guys have you still got the spreadsheet, because I can still track a lot of this stuff on there.
Yeah, I do, and I haven't been using it, but I'll get back into the habit, man. Yeah, I think the few weeks we had off, slowed me down a little bit, but yeah, I got it open right now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's hit it. We'll have some fun with it. Awesome. All right,
brothers.
All right, guys.
And take care of your. I love you guys. You guys are fucking amazing. You really are.
This was a good one. Thank you. I love the audience conversations on this one. It's fantastic. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Love you guys. See ya.
Yeah, love you guys. Take care.
All right.